Coming up, plane crazy. The man who was so drunk he somehow evaded security at Birmingham Airport and clambered aboard a passenger aircraft.
The attack by guard dogs which left a teenager seriously injured.
And looking ahead to tomorrow and results day. That's at 6.
The national and international news in 30 minutes here on ITV. First though, the stories from your local area.
You're watching ITV News Central. On our programme tonight, a man jailed this year for raping a woman more than 20 years ago admits another attack.
Security breach. The man who managed to get on a plane at Birmingham Airport while drunk.
Seriously injured, the teenager who says he was attacked by guard dogs after protecting his friend.
More than 1 in 3 of us would lose our homes in a month if we lost our jobs.
And the nerves will be kicking in for teenagers and teachers ahead of GCSE results day. Good evening. A former boxer has admitted attempting to rape a stranger as she walked home 12 years ago.
Tonight, for the first time, we can reveal that the woman's attacker, Mark Harrison, was jailed for 20 years in January for the rape of another woman in 1992.
Harrison, who comes from Nuneaton, escaped justice after the first attack, but the case was reopened thanks to advances in forensic technology. Matt Ratcliffe reports.
The attack took place on the 7th of February 1992, almost 22 years ago. This was a year later, when the victim appealed for help in finding the man responsible.
At the minute, it's like somebody pressing a pause button. My life is on hold until he's found, because I can't go forward. I can't forget about it or put it to the back of my mind or just get on with my life, because he's still there. You know, I'm not going to be able to go forward until he's been found.
She was attacked from behind as she walked home from a night out in Nuneaton. Yards from her home, she was raped. The attacker wasn't traced until last year, when detectives decided to review the case. And advances in forensic science meant DNA taken from the victim at the time was able to be matched to Mark Harrison. He was arrested and charged.
I'm quite surprised at the speed of which it's picked up in more recent years. But there have been several examples of cases where old samples have been able to be matched with profiles from the DNA database. So DNA really is here to stay.
Now it's been revealed Harrison has admitted attempting to rape a second woman, a 26-year-old from Nuneaton, as she walked home in August 2002. He'll be sentenced for that attack later. Tonight, Warwickshire Police paid tribute to the bravery of both women. Matt Ratcliffe, ITV News.
A man has been fined for breaching security at Birmingham Airport while he was drunk. Lee Jezard from Redditch managed to get on board a passenger jet while it was being cleaned overnight.
Jezard told police he wanted to show how easy it was. He claimed he was testing out security measures. Keith Wilkinson reports.
Lee Jezard, the man who penetrated security at Birmingham Airport, despite being so drunk, he'd no idea how he'd even got there. He'd been drinking in Birmingham city centre, travelled to the airport, possibly by train, and then in the middle of the night, somehow clambered through a baggage carousel. He found himself on the airport apron. He then managed to sneak on board a Lufthansa aircraft in one of the apron stands. Cleaners on the plane raised the alarm, and Jezard was then apprehended by security and police. The prosecutor, David Devine, said this was a drunken escapade. When he was approached by cleaners on the plane, he said he was a co-pilot and in the Navy. He said, "I break into places to see if people can catch me. I go into prisons and other places." After he was arrested and cautioned, he said, "I was trying to show how easy it was to get on that plane, and I did it." Lee Jezard, who has lost his job, was fined £285 and ordered to pay costs and compensation. The court was told there was no suggestion he would have harmed anyone or caused problems to the aircraft.
Do you regret doing this?
Yeah, definitely.
Was it just because you were drunk at the time? Do you think, are you going to expose any other places? Because you said you went to prisons and things. Are you actually doing that as an expose? No.
The real issue here, of course, is that incidents like this, whilst it doubtless has its less serious side to it, nonetheless it still highlights that breaches can occur and nothing's perfect. You cannot achieve absolute total security 100% of the time. I don't really believe that's possible because, again, you're dealing with people.
There have been other security embarrassments at the airport. Last year, 2 security guards were jailed for helping illegal immigrants to board flights. And 14 years ago, an undercover reporter claimed he'd got on an aircraft by posing as a pilot. The airport issued a brief statement today which said, "The safety and security of our passengers is our #1 priority." The individual penetrated the terminal boundary and was subsequently arrested by the police. A full investigation has taken place. Keith Wilkinson, ITV News.
Well, in a statement, Lufthansa told us that security was the responsibility of Birmingham Airport, but its aircraft was not accessible overnight and that a thorough search of the plane was undertaken before it departed.
Police say they had to make deliberate contact with a car travelling in the wrong direction on the M6 toll road last night. It happened shortly before 10 o'clock. The car was travelling at 50 miles an hour, heading south on the northbound carriageway at Sutton Coldfield near the A38. The driver of the car was a 77-year-old man who has dementia. He was uninjured. A police officer suffered a minor injury.
Birmingham City Council has appointed a new boss for its Children's Services Department. Bernadette McNally is in charge of improving the department, which has been in special measures since 2011. She will take over in November.
A teenager is recovering after being mauled by 2 dogs as he was walking with a friend. 14-year-old Caleb Hoyes says he was in a field near his home in Warwickshire when he was attacked.
We should warn you that Balvinder Sidhu's report does contain images showing the teenager's wounds.
These injuries on teenager Caleb Hoyes' back, arm and leg are reminders of how he was attacked by 2 dogs in broad daylight. The 14-year-old says he was walking home through a field with his friend Lana when 2 guard dogs jumped on her. He stepped in to protect her and ended up seriously injured.
They started attacking Lana. I stopped, then tried to separate them, and they turned on me. And hard to remember in a way. Tried to forget it, but yeah, it was a bit traumatising.
Caleb spent 2 days in hospital. He had stitches and was seen by plastic surgeons. His mother says it was a nightmare.
Absolutely horrific, yeah. He told me he thought he was dying, thought his leg was broken. Quite a lot of blood, he was bleeding from the head, bleeding from the body. It was just awful. He was screaming, trying to calm him down, trying to talk to the paramedics and the police at the same time. It was just an absolute nightmare, really.
It happened in an open field near Goodyear's End Lane in Bedworth last Wednesday. His friend says she's lucky because it could have been a lot worse.
If he wasn't there for me, I don't know if I'd still be alive right now.
He could have been killed, couldn't he? If she'd have been walking home on her own, she would most definitely have been killed. But yeah, they were both lucky they weren't more seriously injured.
His family say he has shown tremendous courage and have nominated him for a bravery award.
Not many people would jump in between 2 dogs and help their friend out, would they? Not many grown-ups would do that, let alone child. He didn't think about himself, no. He's my hero, yeah.
Police are investigating the incident and a 58-year-old man from Bedworth was arrested and has been bailed pending further inquiries. Balvinder Sidhu for ITV News.
A family who have Yazidi relatives in Iraq say they've fled to live on a mountain because they were threatened with death unless they converted to Islam. David Sleeman and Yisra Khalil from Derby are trying to keep in touch by mobile phone, but say some have disappeared and they don't know if they're still alive. They're among thousands of people in Iraq who fled to seek refuge on Mount Sinjar.
We worry about everybody. We've got over 50 families, all my cousins down there. They are now in the mountain. It's very, very difficult situation.
I want just to send my message to be taken by organization and countries and anyone that can help my minorities to be saved, because it is too dangerous to live there now.
The driver of a coach which was carrying passengers from Dudley to the seaside when it crashed on the M5 remains in hospital tonight. The coach was carrying 53 passengers when it overturned in Gloucestershire. 5 people who suffered minor injuries have now been discharged from hospital. The driver is being treated for back, shoulder and rib injuries.
You can find more news to the Midlands on our website, including the mother of 8 children on benefits from Birmingham who says she wants more children so that she can claim more money and get a bigger council house. For that and much more, go to itv.com/central.
In the meantime, stay with us. There's plenty more to come on the programme, including you're watching ITV News Central. Life after the Football League, a former professional exposes the financial myths about the lower leagues.
Plus the nervous teenagers anxiously waiting the arrival of their GCSE results.
Nearly 700,000 people in the West Midlands wouldn't be able to pay their rent or mortgage for more than a month if they lost their job. That's according to new research.
The survey by the housing charity Shelter found that nearly 2 in 5 people in the West Midlands face losing their homes within a month if they lost their job. Nearly 2/3 of people only have enough savings to cover the 3 months' worth of rent or mortgage payments, while 1 in 5 people say they have no money saved at all to pay for their homes. Callum Watkinson reports.
Competitive snooker is just one of the many things that has slipped away from Bill Murdoch since he began to lose his sight. Retinal bleeding sent him blind in his left eye last October, and the right failed him at Easter. He can just about see to hold a cue, but he's heartbroken to have lost his job.
I love driving a bus. It's such an enjoyable job. You see so many aspects of people's lives. It's a fantastic experience. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the social side of it, playing snooker. We're all that's gone now.
And Bill's financial security gone along with it. He's been surviving on sick pay, leaving him over £1,000 a month out of pocket. And in September, he'll lose that too.
Now I've got to go to court over the mortgage because I'm £3,000 in a debt. It was that interim of losing my sight, going on to sick pay, then statutory sick pay. The debt's mounted up. I didn't know where to go, where to turn. I didn't have a clue, to be honest. I'd never been in a situation before.
In the end, he went to housing charity Shelter. They've released research today that shows 670,000 West Midlanders couldn't pay the rent or mortgage for more than a month in the event of sudden redundancy.
People are struggling to keep up with the cost of paying their rent, of paying their mortgage. And what that means is that just one thing going wrong could tip you into a spiral that could end up with losing your home. It's really quite hard out there, and stories like Bill's show just how important it is to get help and advice early if you're beginning to worry about paying the rent or the mortgage.
With wages stagnant, savings have dwindled. 1 million people have enough put by for just 3 months, and a fifth of us wouldn't even last one.
I've always paid my way in life, and it's something you don't expect. You watch the TV, it's happening to the other guys on TV. Well, I'm one of them guys on TV now that it's happening to.
A year ago, Bill was in full-time work with 8 years to go on a mortgage he could pay. His future looks much less certain now. Callum Watkinson, ITV News.